When people ask me why we left Canada, I never know where to start because the truth is we didn't just move, we escaped. We left Canada like we were fugitives with no real plan, just a desperate need to protect our family of 5. 14 months later, living in El Salvador has made us question everything we thought we knew about safety, freedom, and home. This truth might shock you too. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. My name is Charity Hagenars, and bienvenido a mi canal if you're new here, y bienvenido de nuevo if we're already old amigos. If you regularly enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, as it helps the algorithm get this content out to more people. And if you want to support our channel even more, we have a membership option as well. The people and the culture. The other day, we were waiting at the bank to be seen by a clerk. And I did learn that foreigners cannot use the Transfer 365, or at least not at Banco Agricola. So if the bank employee lied to me, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, this boy was beside me. Maybe he was 20 years old. And he spoke pretty decent English, and he started asking if we lived in El Salvador. And I told him that we moved here last year from Canada, and he asked how we were liking living here. Now, I'm guessing that native Salvadorians hearing me say that we live here now, as opposed to a developed first world country like Canada, they must think that we have a pretty long list of negative things that I could say about living in El Salvador. And when I told him it was so much better living here than in Canada, I am sure he was questioning his ability to understand my English. We got into an intriguing conversation where I completely opened his eyes about Canada's downfalls. And I'm not kidding when I say that I don't know where to start when people ask us why we left Canada. There are literally so many reasons. Now, I have some haters in the comments that will try to tell me that I left Canada so I do not have to pay any taxes. That isn't true. There is the VAT tax on everything we buy here. It's just included in the price. So what you see is what you pay, not like in Canada where they had the sneaky little tax that they add on to the end called HST. Or maybe they mean income tax. Well, once we start making money with our tour company, then we will be paying taxes there too. So that's not it. So it's not just the taxes, but Canada has some of the highest taxes in the free world. It's also about drugs and crime. And we need to protect our children, which are a gift from God for us to protect and shelter and raise and nourish to be strong, independent adults. In Canada, I fear that this next generation of children will die of drug overdoses at alarmingly high rates. Drugs are illegal here, and cigarettes aren't even really a thing here, except among other foreigners. And what about the crime in Canada? It is so high with thefts and murder, not to mention how Canada disguises its murder rates as missing persons. Here, there are petty crimes, I'm sure. But with the threat of prison here for doing those crimes, it goes a long way from preventing them from starting in the first place. Other than some scams mostly related to services for my car that I was overcharged for, probably because I am a foreigner, there has been no issue for us here. I'll tell you a little story. I used to have a rental home in Ottawa that I rented out mostly to students as it was near the college. One Tuesday night in late October, early November, one of our tenants, Stephen, clearly mentally challenged, tried to set my house on fire. He poured gasoline from the upstairs all the way down to the basement. Every floor was covered in all the hallway areas. And he was in the basement holding that can of gasoline in one hand and a lighter in the other, and he was like talking to himself outside one of the other tenants' bedroom doors, saying that he didn't feel safe in the house, which alerted the other tenant to this danger. The other tenant's like, you don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. You get a can of gasoline in one hand, a lighter in the other. It's crazy. So the man whose door that Stephen was outside, he took some action. He alerted everyone in the house that, something was wrong. And there was another tenant also beside this guy. So there was 2 of them in the basement, and they wrestled Stephen upstairs to the kitchen, and they got the lighter, I guess, out of his hand. He was trying to light the paper towel on fire. Remember, there are gasoline fumes all throughout the house, so any spark, and it was late October, early November, so even if the furnace had come on, we had a natural gas furnace, the spark from that, even with the pilot light going, I don't know how the house did not go up in flames. Now, luckily, the police and the fire department came. They got everyone out of the house, and they arrested him. The fire department cleaned up, the spilled gasoline as much as they can, but, It was more like we need to rip out the carpets kind of cleaning job that we had to do the rest of the week that we got no compensation for. There was no charges against Stephen for damages to my property. We absolutely get nothing out of this. Everyone was safe, and the police actually put them in hotel rooms for that night, and they took Stephen to jail for the evening. Now, the next night, he was released on bail. Now, we changed the locks and everything, but I'm sure that the people that lived in the house didn't feel very safe knowing that Stephen was roaming free among society. Now, less than a week later, remember I told you that was Tuesday night. The next Monday night, he burned down his workplace with his coworkers inside. Now, as far as I know, none died. Everyone got out okay. They were very lucky, but the place burned to the ground. And this was in 2018. Now, do you think it was fair to the workplace? It was a Wendy's to be burned to the ground. Don't you think it would have been better and safer for everyone if they would have just kept him in jail instead of letting him go out and try to burn more stuff down? Trying to burn down my house is enough of a crime to stay in jail, right? Isn't it? Especially with people inside, like attempted murder or something. Canada has gotten way softer on crime than it was 7 years ago. Now you can rape people, assault children in their homes at night, break into homes, steal cars, whatever you want, and you're released almost immediately. Now, Bukele did the right thing by putting criminals in jail. I know, what a concept. What a concept. It makes El Salvador safe for the other 6 million law-abiding people that are living here. And it makes it a destination, of course, people want to go to because it is safe. We left Canada because we just wanted to live our lives in peace and be left alone by the government and not being taken advantage of by the system. It seems that all the people that have hurt us throughout the years as landlords and moteliers, they had nothing left to lose. They had no jobs. They were living off of welfare or disability. They stole our Amazon packages and never spent a night in jail. They didn't pay rent, no jail time. They tried to burn down my house, only spent one night in jail. I had everything to lose, and they take advantage of that. They have nothing to lose, and they can do whatever they want because the legal system favors them in Canada. It favors the low-life person. That is the true Canada. El Salvador is for the people who want to prosper without those low-life people trying to take you down. Cost of living. Our cost of living from September 20th to October 19th is as follows. Our rent is $850 a month. With our security fee for the maintenance and security guards, that's $35 a month. Last month we had our highest electric bill ever, $177.18, other than the Airbnb incident last year. But we had the air conditioning on a lot more going to bed at night. And with this past month, when the bill comes in a couple of days, we did not have the air conditioning on hardly at all. So we'll see the big difference there. Because we just, I don't know, it's been cool enough. We left the windows open at night and down to like 18 degrees, leave all the windows open. It's nice. It's just that you got to be careful if it starts to rain because the rain comes in the windows. So you got to be quick to, usually when it rains, it's not when we're asleep. It's raining before we go to bed. As long as the rain stops before we go to bed and we get the windows back open, it's pretty good. Our water bill was $2.62. Our drinking water is about $62 approximately. Now, I did mention to you guys, I'm going to get an under the sink water filter, but we have to put our new sink in, and it's tricky because to cut the hole bigger while the sink is in place is very challenging. So, and very dirty, messy, awful, marble dust, whatever, granite dust. So we are thinking about trying to remove that piece, take it outside to cut it and bring it back in. We actually got ourselves a marble cutter. We'll see what happens. I don't know how that's going to play out exactly, but it's only about 4 feet long, this piece, because it's not like the whole countertop. So, we'll see. If we end up smashing it or something, we'll have to just pick up a new one. I think they're pretty common here, so we can pick up another one, have it cut before we install it. That's the plan. Anyway, cooking gas, I had to get one tank this month, so that was $12. Our internet is $32.98. Cell phones about $51 because there's $12 plans for Willem, Annika, and GJ, and a $15 plan for me. We didn't give any top-ups to Lawrence this month. For groceries, that was $1,037.42. Now that includes a very large PriceSmart trip, which was over $700. And it wasn't just food, like we got a garden hose, we got laundry detergent, soap, shampoo, toilet paper, paper towels, like all the stuff you can imagine. Plus we got a couple of deliveries from Maxi Despensa and El Robles baking supplies, which I'll talk about in the next section. Talk about timing. My husband just came upstairs with the new electric bill. As I said, we use a lot less air conditioning this month. So yeah, it's $128. So $50 cheaper by having a little bit less air conditioning. So that does make a big difference. So next month you'll see that one. Anyway, school, we have 67.50 for the buses. Eating out was a little higher than I like. I actually didn't feel like we ate out that many times, but I think we just ordered bigger orders so we'd have more than one meal out of it. So it's a little bit higher. It was $322.36. Entertainment, that's my Amazon Prime, Netflix, that kind of stuff. That's $39.81. Household goods a lot cheaper this month because still paying off the credit card from last month. I think it'll take a couple months to pay that off. But I did tell you last month that we had this big EPA order that just happened to be on the other side of, like, it was on the 20th of the month, so it wasn't included last month. So the whole thing is $2,465.01. $1,055 that was an EPA, and that was like 2 mattresses we got for our 2 box springs we had for our guest room. We picked up a table saw for my husband to cut out some wood. I got a footstool. We got curtain rods, garbage cans. We got curtains, a bunch of other stuff for the house, some screws and bolts and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it just added up. It was like 4 cartloads of stuff in the end, especially since the table saw and the garbage can took up so much space. We also bought another marble cutting tool, as I mentioned, for the countertop. So that was, we bought that secondhand off Facebook Marketplace. That was $50. We got some more shelving for our library, so the tracks and then the brackets and then the plywood for that to cut out the shelves for our library. Just these things add up, right? Our house is pretty much done. I think this number is going to seriously go down over the next month. And I do hope to do a house tour. I don't know if it'll be this coming week because I want to get the curtain rods and stuff hung up. I don't know. It'll be soon. It'll be soon how it looks. I got to get this room organized still. I do need some other furniture. We're going to try to make it. We'll see. It's pretty much done. We're thinking about getting some wood and actually making some of our own furniture. Like I said, the cupboards I need here, maybe a coffee table downstairs, maybe even like a sofa set. And I actually found a place that does cushions for the sofa, a seat cushion and a back cushion, 5 of them, like a 3-seater sofa and a 2-seater for like $115, which I think is a steal. If you've ever tried to buy like patio furniture cushions and stuff, they're like $115 a set. So this is like 5 cushions for $115, and I'm going to need a couple more because I think we have a couple of chairs to go with it. But I'm sure we can make a deal because I want to get a little bit thicker foam. I want to make sure they're really comfortable. If we end up making it, again, it's no big rush. We have sofas and stuff, just they're not super comfortable now. The foam is wearing thin. They weren't an expensive set to begin with because we have kids and we have cats, and we didn't want to spend a lot of money on furniture that kids and cats are not really careful with. But now we're getting a little bit more used to living here and kind of what we would like to have, and something more comfortable to watch TV with at night, like a nice cozy chair would be nice. So we are looking into maybe building our own with just getting wood, and my husband has all his tools ready now, and just getting some cushions made by somebody because I can't make them. Actually, I couldn't make 5 cushions, a back and a seat. Well, 10 cushions really. I could not make that for $115 myself, just the fabric and the foam alone. They must have like a big factory kind of thing because I couldn't make it for that cheap, or at least not in Canada. I couldn't. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It must be more economical to do that here because I couldn't do that in Canada for sure. And I've done a lot of sewing, and I've never. Foam is very expensive. Let's just say it. Foam is very expensive. I've never seen something I could do that inexpensively, even with American to Canadian exchange. So for transportation, that's $40. That was for fuel. I think we just got gas or diesel, one or the other, in one of the vehicles right at the end of last month. And we didn't really go a lot. Like went into San Salvador, I think 2 or 3 times. I don't know. Gas for us lasts a long time, especially with the diesel, obviously, because it's just better on fuel. But yeah, we'd only needed 1 tank, so that's $40 for that. Medical, that's $96.81. That's $40 for Willem's braces because every month we go to get his checkup, and it's $40. And all the rest, that's just my medication. I have an asthma inhaler that I pick up every 2 months, so that was this one. For pets, I have 0. The pet food is included in our PriceSmart grocery bill. Now, relocation, I had to throw that one back in here. I know I said I probably never needed that again, but well, if you saw our other video from last week, we just got our year 2 and year 3 of our residency. Now, I assume we got them. I mean, I don't have the cards yet, but they took all our paperwork, took our money, and we're just waiting for the email to say the cards are ready to go pick up. So that was $240 per person for 2 years of residency, plus $2 for the parking. So I just threw that in because it was all the same day. For a grand total of $6,496.69. Now, again, if you take out the residency stuff, that puts us down to $5,291, and like I said, $1,000 of that was the EPA stuff, just more stuff for the home. It's going to be a lot less. It has to be a lot less because the credit card companies. I'm very fortunate; they've extended us lots of credit over the years. I built up all that good credit in Canada, and they haven't canceled the cards on us yet. So I just got to keep making the payments, right? keep making the payments from my pension money, and we'll be able to continue living here. Okay, right? So, like I said, household goods are going to be a lot less over the next coming months. We're pretty much done here, except for, like I mentioned, the furniture. But yeah, it's a lot if you want to kind of set up your home, kind of like it was before, right? That's one of the things about living here, and people talk about what should I bring if I get a shipping container and all that stuff. Bring the stuff that makes it feel like home to you. That's really important, because if it always feels like you're living in someone else's house, or you're living out of your suitcase, or you're in a motel room or an Airbnb, and it's never personalized to you, it's just never going to feel super comfortable. And we're trying to make this as cozy as possible, because we intend to be here a long time. So, like the library, my husband had his books in boxes over the last year. We packed them up in August and didn't really unpack them until this past August. So for him, that makes him feel more cozy and comfortable, makes it feel like home. He can go to the shelf and grab a book, or I'm like, gee, didn't I have a book on this topic? And he's like, yeah, it's over there. It's the third shelf and it's over on the left, right? Like it just it just makes it so much more real, I guess you could say. It makes it feel like you never left your home, or you just built this new home just like how you had it before. And it gives that sense of peace and comfort, and like I say, cozy, because that's the word it makes me feel like. But when I have my things that I go to all the time, like him, it's books. For me, it's my craft stuff. I really want to get into doing some crafting. I need to figure out how to get the rest of these boxes unpacked, with some more storage, so I can actually put a table in here so I can have a space to do my sewing and crafting and stuff. And that to me makes me feel like I'm home. And I have another one in this next section that also makes me feel like home, and that is under the food section. Now, I think I've covered most Salvadorian food dishes, restaurants, that kind of stuff in my other 13 monthly videos. So this week, I'm going to talk a little bit about that taste from my home. One thing that I have had trouble sourcing here was wheat flour. I know, it's bizarre. I wasn't until I brought this up in my Ask Me Anything group, where I had a Salvadorian that lives here in that group tell me what the brand names of those flour companies are, that I found my answer. I don't know why, one, it was so hard to find flour in a decent quantity, and two, it was so expensive. And you see bakeries everywhere, so I was wondering, where on earth are they finding affordable flour to bake bread? Now, you see, in Canada, I always made my own bread. First, it was in my bread maker, but then once I went through two bread makers, I started making it by hand using my KitchenAid mixer, and then I broke one of those, and I replaced it with the red one that I brought from Canada here. And you see, I'm a serious baker. So when I cannot find flour in bigger than 4-pound bags, you know how small a 4-pound bag of flour is, costing $5 for that 4 pounds, I got a little anxious about never being able to bake anymore. You see, my mom is a baker, and I learned a lot from her. And I even took a bread making course online during the lockdowns in 2020, so I could, perfect my abilities. So I really was missing the affordability of wheat flour. So maybe it's no longer as affordable in Canada as it was before, as everything has gone up in price, but I figured there must be a place that sells it here cheaper than I've seen in the grocery stores. So one of the company's names is Mulsa, and the other one that we found was Roble. Now, there may be more companies. I don't know. Someone tell me in the description if you know if there are other companies that do flour here. So I checked out both their websites, and I chose the Roble one. I bought 10 pounds of whole wheat flour and 10 pounds of white, both at 77 cents a pound, which is reasonable. They had a bit cheaper one, but I picked the little bit more expensive one. I also got a pack of yeast and cornstarch. Now, my bread turns out perfect now. I also brought my mill from Canada too. So my next search will be buying the actual wheat berries. Other things I'm missing that I can't seem to find are icing sugar and vanilla. Those are literally impossible to find. That is what I find the most frustrating living in El Salvador. The things that you just find at a regular grocery store. I don't need to go to a baking supply store to buy raw ingredients in Canada, but I do here. So it is not that they don't have it here necessarily, it's just harder to find. And without the best grasp of the language, it's an added complexity. But we adjust, right? Now I know where to get flour. Pretty soon I will know where to get the vanilla and the icing sugar too, just in time for baking Christmas cookies. So if you're interested in being part of our WhatsApp group where we discuss all things El Salvador, even flour, please send me an email with your WhatsApp information at youtube@haganars.com, and I will add you to our group. Also, we hang out on Google Meets every Monday night at 7 p.m. El Salvador time. Check the description below for the link to that meeting and just add it to your calendar. Come hang out with us. We just chat about anything and everything. Safety and security. Now, as I said in the first section, El Salvador is very safe. And yes, to answer your comments, we live in a gated community. But that is not why I think El Salvador is safe. I think it's safe because I can go to the mall and do my shopping without a fear of getting carjacked on the way back to my car. Or I'm out in a small town shopping and I have no fear of my purse being stolen. I have no fear of my phone being ripped out of my hands as I'm texting a friend. This is a thing in other countries. If you haven't been watching the news, well, maybe the news doesn't actually show you how to watch alternative media, but you'll see people just drive by on motorcycles, and not like we don't have any motorcycles in El Salvador, crying out loud, but in, say, the UK, for example, they'll drive by on a motorcycle and grab your phone right out of your hand as you're like texting or scrolling or watching a video, as you're waiting for a bus or something. They just rip it right out of your hand. There's so many thieves in other countries, but here, not so much. Like I said, fear of jail, it's a good thing. You know, I don't have to drive with my doors locked as I approach the street vendors selling fruit or snacks on the side of the road. I don't fear for my kids' safety at school, being roped into doing drugs, or being killed by crazy, confused kids. And I also don't fear that my children will be indoctrinated into the woke culture at school either. So we finally got our trampoline set up for the kids. Annika has one friend, Paige, who comes by all the time. She's bilingual. And now Paige is bringing other kids to come over here to play too. Now, the trampoline's in our backyard, so the children have to pass through the entire house to get to the backyard. I don't have parents coming to check us out to make sure that we are good people who are not going to hurt their kids, and I don't even know the little girls' names. Honestly, I don't have a clue what their names are or what house they live in. I have no idea where they're at. You know, this is how it was when I grew up. We didn't live in a gated community. I grew up in a trailer park, okay? I lived in the trailer park till I was 12, and we moved out to the country. We always had kids to play with, and we could go into anyone's home without fear. Now, that is what I wanted for my children, to live without fear, to have a child's innocent heart. And we couldn't do that in Canada because there are too many child grooming pedos there. It's just not safe in Canada, but it is safe here. Now, adjusting to the language. So a week ago, the kids spent a whole week home doing online schooling because there were fears due to the amount of rain we were getting, like landslides, flooding, etc., across the whole country. So all public schools were doing online school for the week, and they were recommending it to the other schools as well. Now, the teachers sent work home for Annika and Lawrence via WhatsApp, and for Willem, they use Google Classroom, so all of his stuff was kind of already there. And Lawrence had some online tests he had to do, so I was getting WhatsApp messages each morning what the kids had to report in with. So they would do the work, and I'd take photos, and I'd send it to their teacher, and that's how they did the work for the week. Now, I think that Willem and Annika will pass this year, but Lawrence has always been in a special program in Canada because he has autism, and if you know anything about autism or children with disabilities, they're giving an IEP in Ontario, so it's called an IEP. Now, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's like a special plan that they have, that they make of how they're going to teach a child for the year and how they're going to evaluate him, as he will be treated differently than the other kids in his grade. So because of that, Lawrence has always been kind of pushed through every grade until now. And now that he's in regular school, especially after that week home, we see he really has no grasp of math. And I do not know if he'll pass this year, but we would actually like for him to redo grade 9. And we'd like to spend more time with him this summer break, working on the math to fill in those gaps, because I don't think he's going to pass grade 10 math, even if he can get through grade 9. I don't just want them to push him through because he doesn't understand. And it's not fair because you're going to make it to the end and not be able to make change at a cash register if he ever has a job as a clerk, right? I need for him to know how to do stuff. So I would like to spend more time with him on the math part. The other stuff he seems to be doing pretty good in. If he gets to redo grade 9 and all the ones like the social studies and the language one, he's doing pretty good in those. So if he redoes those, he should even do better next year. Now, the language is only part of that. Like I said, you know, we had a couple of people reach out to us in the past to want to help us do some online training, and we're going to do that, but we're going to wait till the break to focus on those things. I have a couple ideas as well, and I'll let you know if they work out in a future video. There are only like 2 weeks left of school, so I have told my English class that we're going to have an exam actually tomorrow, Saturday, and I actually have a little gift for each of them because I had 5 that kind of stuck with me till the end, and it was a set of brothers and then 2 brothers and a sister, so it was actually 2 families. So I'm going to bring them some gifts tomorrow, give them their exam, and I think because November 1st is a Saturday and that's All Saints Day for us, so I don't think we're going to have school. So I'm going to call tomorrow basically the last day of school. We'll do a little exam, I'll grade them, give them a grade, give them a little gift, and see them again next year. Hopefully they'll come back for more English lessons next year. Now, some of our friends actually mentioned maybe we could do English here in the house with people in our community. So, once the house looks a bit more settled, we're going to pursue that, a little bit more. And I think we have like the largest private collection of English books in this country. So maybe we could do something with that. And if you have any ideas for us on how we can kind of do that, do some English, maybe like cooking with the Haganars, learn English and learn how to make bread. I don't know, like something like that, where we could do a movie night or cooking, or I don't know. If anyone's ever done anything like this, let me know, because it would be really cool to help, kids and adults in the community once or twice a week, or I don't know how much we can manage right now, but we'll figure it out. But if you have some ideas, let us know in the comments below. I'm really interested in knowing what we could be doing. And also, Willem is doing fine after the whole bat bite incident. A lot of people asked about that. So yeah, he's done all his rabies shots, and he had been on antibiotics, and he also had like a cream, like antibiotic cream for his finger where the cut was, and he's doing great. So no worries about him. He learned his lesson. Don't play with wild animals. Not that he was playing with the wild animal, he was just removing it from the house. So infrastructure and utilities. Now, after living through my second rainy season here, I have to say that El Salvador has some very good water management systems. Now, I hear you screaming in the background, ready to give something in the comments, ready to type something nasty to me. I don't know. But hear me out. I know that this country hasn't always been taken care of by the government, and some and probably many systems need to be updated. But I see the progress, and the new stuff being built is quite impressive. One thing I like about our community is that the roads are actually made of pavers, and because they're not solid across like asphalt pavement or concrete or whatever, water can seep around every paver as it's coming down pretty hard. And if you've ever lived in a tropical country during a rainy season, you know that a lot of rain comes down at a fast pace. Within 30 minutes, you could have a couple inches of rain. So it's a lot of rain. And the rain has to go somewhere. So we have some pretty good storm sewers here as well. And we have this little river that runs through our complex, and possibly the storm sewers might even drain into that little river. I'm not sure how they use that. But all these things are ways to kind of collect that water, and, preventing landslides is a big thing, right? Or, they have the gutters on the side of the highways. They're like at least a half a meter to a meter deep. They're like a V shape, and they're concrete on the sides so they don't erode and cave in and become clogged. They're actually, diverting that water to, I guess, some other storm sewer system somewhere else. But because I said it comes down, a couple inches could come down in a half an hour. So you need that water to be shed away quickly, and then, pushed down to the ocean. Maybe, I'm not even sure where it goes, to be honest. But you need to be able to have good systems to do that. So, and we have rain almost every day. So it's pretty impressive that we don't have the place flooding all the time. Now, little by little, this country is being rebuilt. It's like a phoenix rising from the ashes, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. Reflecting on our journey. As I opened up in the first line of this video that we didn't just move, we escaped. We left Canada like we were fugitives. I said this because we took everything that we thought was important with us, or we packed it into the shipping container, leaving behind stuff that we didn't want to leave behind, and we came to rebuild our lives here. Now, we're fortunate that credit card companies, like I said, keep giving us credit because it can be very expensive along the journey to rebuild your life. And right now, like I said, I have my monthly pension, and until we have our business really up and running with lots and lots of tours with our Stay on Demand tour company, when that really gets up and going, then we'll have steady income from that. But right now, we just have my pension. So, like I said, credit card's a great thing. As long as I can make the monthly payments and work on getting them paid off, excellent. But, it was totally worth it to us to do it this way, even though it was expensive. You never know what the future will hold for you or your family, but we knew that it wouldn't be in Canada. We'd have no future for our children in Canada or any other Western country. Between the high taxes, the crime, the violence, indoctrination of our children, child sex trafficking, depravity, drugs, and the extreme high cost of living, that next generation won't even be able to afford to buy a home. There is no future for them in Canada. We had to move our family to a place that has a future and is safe. And El Salvador may seem like an unlikely candidate to some, but honestly, it feels like Canada did in 1980 when I grew up. I needed my kids to experience that kind of peace and safety. We sure do love it here. Having no snow is just a bonus. And if you're feeling like we did, then feel free to reach out to us at youtube@haganars.com. And like I said, send us your WhatsApp number. We'll add you to our AMA group. There are lots of like-minded people there that you can just ask anything and everything about El Salvador to see if it will make a good Plan B country for you too. You can always join us again on Monday nights, 7 p.m. El Salvador time. Just hang out with us. Ask us whatever you like. It's just a chill hangout time. I'm thinking of maybe doing a live show once a week. I don't know. Let me know if you guys would be interested in doing that. I could do it maybe like on Thursday night or something. I'm not sure what the best time is. Of course, everyone's in different time zones, but 7 our time is good because it's after we have dinner. So, Eastern time is 9 o'clock until you guys change the time. We don't change time in El Salvador, so we're always on standard time. We don't have daylight savings time here. So it's, what is it? Probably 2 or 3 weeks you guys change the time. So everyone that does join us on our Monday night calls, remember, your time is probably changing, not ours. It's still 7 o'clock our time. And if you decide to come here on a scouting trip, reach out to us, and Stan could be your driver too. He is a great guy, completely bilingual, and we wouldn't have hired him to work with us if we didn't think so. So thank you for coming along with us on this amazing journey. I will continue doing these monthly updates each month for you guys. And if you remember last month, I asked you guys at the end, I told you I had a birthday and asked you guys how old you thought I was. And I had some really nice people comment that I was about 35 to 40 years old. That's amazing. I'm actually 51 years old. So I've had people tell me that I've actually looked younger as I lived here the past year. So there's a lot of health benefits to coming to El Salvador too, and looking younger is even one of them. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. It helps our channel to reach more people on YouTube who are wanting to know what life is really like in El Salvador. And ask us any questions you like in the comments. I read every one of them. See you in the next one.
Don't forget to hit the like button.